Thank you
of all
for
the
joining today
channels.
on the short notice podcast, but I felt like it's going to be a quick one today. I want to do this more consistently, as I've said the past 35 times, but I think this time is going to be different.
I don't really have time to make weight just because of the short notice. So,
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses for my performance or anything.
Right. I just have no idea like how I couldn't cut 32 kilos like 7 days before this fight. Like, I'm just fucking shocked. Like, how that even happened? Literally, like every every UFC event, three guys don't make weight. Oh yeah, no. Just have no idea. Like, I'm trying to get to 86. I'm currently 116. I'm just like shocked I couldn't make it. Like, it's just so weird. Like,
We could literally have a whole podcast about weight cutting and like our
everyone's
opinions on it. Like, I think it's the
exactly.
stupidest thing ever. But yeah,
Yeah, whatever. Look, Ahmed. Today, first of all, we need to address the greatest World Cup event in human
the
history.
goat, the goat,
GOAT
the
event.
Qatar, the goat.
It was literally the best World Cup ever.
I,
Okay.
I agree. I mean, a lot of people that I mean, you were there, but I from what I've seen on YouTube, a lot of people that were there that went to a lot of games. The one guy, Theo Ogden, I think his name was, went to every single game. He holds the world record for
Yeah, there's like three
64 out of
guys that did that. I
64.
think there's another guy called like Ben or something like that. I can't remember his name, but like it's like he went to 64 games as well, and he said it was like I mean this is the only World Cup probably.
Ever.
This is
It will
the
never
only
happen
World Cup.
again.
Yeah, probably like because they're all going to be like multi-nation hosting now. So
Yeah.
like it's going to be the only one where you can actually go to all the games. This is the
It's the
only time they're
only
able to do it.
single city FIFA World Cup that's ever happened.
No, wasn't there like was single country? Oh, single city. I guess it's
Yeah,
technically.
because like imagine Russia was pretty much like 8 countries if just
When
by
these
sheer
guys were like
size.
Uruguay, like but they were like 1938 or 1945 or something like that. That was just so long ago. But
Yeah, but like in Qatar, like I mean, you could have literally had him watch the game in the morning during the group stages, or
well,
like
that's
in
what
the
I did.
afternoon, and then gone to at night and watched another game.
Well, I went to there was one day I went to two games. I went at four. I went to a 4 p.m. game and I made the 7 o'clock game, which is pretty crazy. Like thinking about it, like it was a bit tight, like going between the two games, but like I went to two games within like 3 hours of each other.
That's
So it's
so cool. That is actually so cool.
it's never gonna happen again. And like I have to like give big props to like all the people like who actually organized this like even the vibe in the city just absolutely buzzing. First of all, like the whole city was just kind of like there was not a game you couldn't go talk about at like work the next day. Everyone was watching the same games. The whole city
Yeah,
was like every day after work people had stuff to do. There's always something going on. There's a million events happening, and it was just so like it was just a symphony of like coordination. Like at no point where was anyone like, "Oh, I don't know where to go." It's like you know exactly where to go. Like from when I left my house driving to a stadium, and I'm terrible with directions. I knew where to go and where to park.
no, that says a lot. It's like
Like
man,
like driving
sh-
40
that's like the
kilometers.
best planners of all time. If Jude knows where to go,
Yeah, exactly. Like I literally drove 40 kilometers. I knew where to park. Like that's
Jude,
just saying
Jude,
a huge.
you spent 4 years at university, and up until the very last day, you didn't know where any building was.
Well, see,
That
I don't need to know because I had a Sherpa, so
sure,
he can guide me around. He can
yeah,
get me around the stadiums. He can get me around the lectures.
was Bedr the Sherpa, and I was just the llama that carries all the stuff,
You're just a
spitting at you.
pack mule.
Pack mule.
Yeah, so it was like so like it was like it was safe. Like there's no like no hooliganism as they would say.
Hmm.
Like no one was getting like punched in the head after matches.
Yeah,
Like did you see that? Like did you see literally like last week or 2 weeks ago? There was that game in Melbourne where they rushed
yeah.
the field and the guy
That was
like
all over the news.
the goalkeeper got hit in the head with this big like vat of something. How
Yeah,
did
they
that
had
even
to
get in the
stop the
stadium?
game. They had to stop the game, and they called it off after like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, great. So that's like yeah,
And
that's
that
kind of
goes to show you. I mean,
yeah,
you don't even need like okay, that's like kind of a more smaller level organization, but I mean the Champions League final wasn't it in Paris the last one, and they had this whole commotion and English fans couldn't get into the stadium and they were being pepper sprayed and riots
why couldn't they get
almost.
into the stadium? What was the issue?
Uh, no, actually, I just remember being like insane. Um, I think it was Paris. Right, I'm googling it while we speak.
Nice. While you do Google, like you get you get into the stadium. It's like so clear, like just the sheer amount of people working in the stadium was just like was enough. Like honestly, I would say the staff working in one of these stadiums, I would say like there was no less than like 2,000 people working there. Like there had to be minimum 2,000 people. Like, like you walk outside of the stadium or you walk to the stadium from the car park to like first of all like they had car park. That's like something huge by
Hmm.
the way.
Yeah,
Every
of
stadium
course.
has a car park. Like if you had to take a bus from the stadium from the car park to the stadium, like you go to the bus and there's just like literally we were waiting for like you never had to wait for a bus. There was like maybe 50, 60 buses just waiting in the queue to take you to the stadium, just like shuttle buses.
Yeah,
It was just so like
that
at no
that's good
point we were like,
organization
oh,
right there.
this is just like bad. Like it was just so like it was just so well done.
Hmm.
Like at no point you felt like, oh, this is like no. It was just like, and honestly, like because everyone who lives in Qatar is like they're like they're the like you'd think the Western media is like the biggest critics, but actually it's the people who live here are everyone here is like the world's biggest critic, and they had no complaints. Like everyone here waits on like anything that happens. Like, oh, it's just a shit show. It's badly organized. It wasn't. No one could say that because it was just it was executed to
Well, I
perfection.
mean, the thing I can only compare it to is not FIFA, the Rugby World Cup we had in New Zealand in 2011, and
Yeah,
even that, like, you couldn't drive to the stadiums, like Eden Park here.
but like literally, you can't drive to Eden Park. Like in
Yeah,
general, you can't drive to like bro. When Eden Park has a game, it's like the whole neighborhood around just shuts down.
yeah,
You have to
exactly.
park in like Newmarket to even
Hmm.
like and start walking from Newmarket. Like that's just the standard Eden Park games.
Yeah, you walk either like 2 kilometers or you take the bus, or like it's yeah. So like the fact that they had parking, they had everything set up, and like this obviously the scale is just huge, all within such a small area. I think
And
someone needs
keep in
to
mind it
talk to
was in a
Qatar
busy
about
city as
organizing
well.
Hajj from now on.
Yeah, they should, bro. Oh, I think like the scale is so much bigger. But like, keep in mind, New Zealand also had it in like multiple cities.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I mean. That Doha, within one city, had to organize all that. Like, whereas New Zealand had to organize, each city kind of could organize itself.
And honestly, it always felt like it was like so personable. Like every like honestly, it was like the three times we drove there, we'd be driving and you just see this bus pull up next to you. Like written next to it, Spain. I just feel like this whole Spain. And you like look inside, you can
Oh,
kind of
that's
see
so
Madrid.
cool. Oh,
That's
it's just
dope.
it's only
It was just
it's just
convoys and
all these
everything. I don't
greatest
know.
athletes in the world right now just sitting next to me in traffic.
Yeah, just like oh well, there was like they don't they had like they had a police escort everywhere they went. Like literally, the second you see them on the road, you just get like kind of like you kind of have to move aside, and they gas it through. It was really cool. Like
Man,
it was smooth ebbs and flows. And like bro, like they made the transport like anyone who came to Qatar had free transport for the duration of the tournament. Like granted, it was busy, like the metro was busy, but at the same time, like it's free. Like it's always going to
so
be busy.
apparently you also get a free SIM card on arrival.
Yeah, everyone got a free SIM card.
That's
Yeah.
man, that is actually so cool. Like it's the little things that make such a big difference. Like,
Yeah, man, like the coolest thing, honestly, I have to hand it to like when we were there, like we're talking to like all these like I was talking to the Argentinian fans next to us.
did you
Like,
ask him Bueno Messi?
wait, no Messi, where's Messi? Oh, bro, like I don't think you could say anything about Messi. Because when I met them, we were in the quarterfinals, so it was getting like it was getting a bit more intense with them. And also, they were telling you like, man, you'd hear stories about them like how important this World Cup was for them. They'd be like, oh, bro, there's people who come here like selling their houses, cars, like life savings, just to come to this event. And like all those little things that like, oh, here's a free SIM card, here's free transport. It's like one big thing because imagine you come here for like a week or 10 days,
Hmm.
and you have to pay for transport. You're forking out $400 for transport, $500
Yeah,
easily
100%.
for that much. $50 a day is not even that much.
I mean, I was watching this this vlog. This kid was doing a vlog. He's like an Indian kid. He came from India. He's like a huge football fan. Him and his friends. He's like, if this wasn't hosted in the Middle East and it wasn't all in one city, we couldn't afford to come here. Like the fact that we can come and stay in these little cabins that were like on the beach,
Oh,
the little
apparently,
fan towns.
apparently that's like, because like obviously like, so like that was like again like, like the Western media, like, the spew fest, how they
Yeah,
sold it. It was
how
like,
dare you have accommodation for people who can't afford the hotels?
yeah, like like so either like, so what you have to do, like apparently now what Qatar has to do, like what every nation has to do, like this is the standard now we have to hold the world to. It has to be like, so you have to pay like $30 a night or $100 a night, whatever it is, and you need to be able to get at least 7 stars. Like that, like I'm gonna accept now some, like this is the standard we have to be held to here. No problem. Now I'm gonna hold the standard to everywhere. I'm gonna pay $150 a night.
I
I want to come sit in the freaking presidential palace, bro. This is
I
what I
mean,
want.
you know damn well if you've been to any 5-star hotel in New Zealand, it doesn't even count as a 3-star hotel in the
Nothing. Well,
GCC,
yeah, it's like, and it's all like the standard is so much lower, and it's like, oh,
and you
had
pay like double the
air
price.
conditioning. Yeah, it's like, oh, they had like, it was just a standard. It was like, honestly, like I saw like I saw pictures and videos of them everywhere. I'd actually go visit them, but like, yeah, there's some of them like, maybe like not the standard. Just pay a bit more and go somewhere else if you can't afford, and that's it. Like there's that. Like this is a World Cup. Like it's not like
Hmm.
it's not like, oh, we're coming in low season. Like no one goes to like no one goes to Disneyland in like the peak of summer and be like, oh yeah, I don't know why there's queues here. Like I just can't imagine like why this is the way it is. It's just like people had like this like really skewed expectations.
Well, it's not really an expectation; it's just racist coverage of
Yeah, it was just
what was
like,
going on.
like my favorite part of this whole thing. Honestly, I have to say it. Like my favorite part was in the end the BBC, and like
Yeah,
the BBC came out
good
and
old
like
Gary Lineker.
Gary, like the whole thing came out in the end, and it's like it just shows like they came out and like really just showed their true colors. Like they didn't hold back anything. I think that's great because like, you know, you don't have conversations with people like, oh, maybe they do sort of respect us, but like they just don't like these sort of aspects of what we do. No, no, no. Like after this event, you could truly tell that like the BBC and stuff, they like it's blatant racism. They
Oh,
blatantly
100%.
dislike us, and like they showed it like
100%.
from every step of the way. There was like some sort of like anything that happened, it was like some sort of negative there. There had to be some sort of like negative connotations, and like
Yeah,
the icing on the cake for me, literally the icing on the cake for me was at the very end when Messi won the trophy. And the Emir put the bisht on him, which is like that.
he honored him.
He
He
honored him with the
graced
bisht.
him with that Bisht.
Yeah, and like literally, he put the bisht on him, which is like such a big deal in like Arab culture, like especially like the emir
The
giving you the
Emir
bisht.
personally putting it on you. Like
Yeah, like he
that
put it on him,
that
and he's
never
like, oh.
happens.
And you hear what's that idiot Gary Lineker? Oh yeah, it's just I don't know why they did that. Just ruined it. It's like you literally, it's a sign like we're trying to share a culture with you. Like it's hosted here, we want to share the culture with you, and it's like we're honoring this person, and the way they take it is like, oh, they're just ruining the photo. That's how you take that statement. Like absolutely ridiculous. And then like the crazy thing is you ask all like they had so many interviews here afterwards with a bunch of like with a bunch of like Argentinian fans. They're like, oh, it was awesome. Literally here, you talk to them, oh, awesome, so cool.
Aren't they all
Like
buying like Bishts before they leave?
literally, literally. So like this was another such a cool aspect of this World Cup. So like like how like there's all that talk before like or like anytime anyone does anything, they're like, oh my god, that's cultural appropriation. How dare they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We literally came here. They literally before this World Cup, everyone here imports started bringing in like like the ghutra and agal for like like the head covering that the men wear,
Yeah,
and like the thobes, which is
the
like
dishdasha or the
the
thobe. Yeah.
dishdasha, the thobe, whatever it is, like the long like kind of like men's
Hmm.
like outfits. They bring them like all the colors of like Brazil, Argentina, like all the
Yeah,
colors.
every national team had their own set.
And so, like, bro, there was the stadium was full of people wearing like the thobes and stuff, and everyone it was like just so, and the vibe was so good. Everyone was so happy about it. Like, bro, like every police officer, every Qatari in the stadium, like props to all of them. They had like come to the stadium. They see someone wearing it like incorrectly, they like help them out, like put it
Hmm.
on them, show them how to wear it, and it was just like such a friendly environment.
Yeah,
And
and
like
then you
they were
probably
all just like,
and the funny thing is, I read actually, I forgot which who wrote it, but I did read some Western media outlet. Right? Is this cultural appropriation? It's like what do you have to do with it? It's none of your business.
Exactly. Cause like obviously, like like morality is actually owned by like the West. Actually has a trademark on morality, like, and it's only their morality that actually matters.
Yeah, that's
Like
that's the one.
that's
That's the
like
one.
it's their they trade. They're the ones who decide like the moral compass of the world. Even though like their moral compass changes every like 15 years to something completely different. But like no dramas, like whatever it is. Like in this episode of their like of Western morality, it's like this is what's
Well,
appropriate. This is
I
what's
don't think it even comes down to morality. I think it's just back to the same point of racism. Like it's just straight up hatred and racism. Because if you were to go by morality and be like, oh, what's right and what's wrong? If I was a Western feminist, the best place in the world for me would be the GCC. Like I can wear whatever I want. No one's gonna come catcall me. No one's gonna come near me. No one's gonna abuse me. I like there's I think UAE are actually have very strict gender pay rules where they've actually like within nationals they've almost zeroed their gender pay gap. So it's like everything that the feminists want
well,
is
you just have to
available.
take you just have to take Qatar for example, like what they talk about. Like take Qatar. There's more. I and believe in Qatar. There's actually more women here that have like university degrees than men.
Yeah, and I think that's
That's
consistent across the GCC, even
yeah. So
Saudi
it's
Arabia, and
yeah. So it's like so I don't know. Like that whole argument is like kind of like breaks down in itself like straight away. But like anyway, that's like
yeah.
that's like
So
the
so if
whole
they
thing.
did focus on what they consider right and wrong, and feminism was something that they considered right, then wouldn't the GCC be the most you know pro feminist place in the world?
No,
Because
you're not allowed to have that opinion. It's
yeah, that's the thing.
women here are abused. All right, you just have to like you have to read from the script, Ahmed. You're not allowed to say anything outside of like what we are programmed to believe. All right, women here are oppressed, and that's just all you're allowed to think. There's
It,
no
it-
other opinion you're
what
allowed to have.
what's also funny about that is if those people who say that knew anything about or even visited the Middle East, they'd realize how matriarchal our society is and how valued the mother's presence is in a family. And like I'm sure it's still today, like even your grandmother is like the head honcho of the family. Like
No,
when
I
my
don't know if it's
grandmother
like
was alive, she was like very valued and held in high regard. And
well, I don't know. I don't know like about like head honcho. I don't know if like that dynamic is like very prevalent in like in our family. I don't know if like even that whole thing is like that. I think like once they get to a certain age, everyone starts getting like really entrenched in their own way of doing things, and
yeah,
like I think a lot of it is like especially like well you'll have two things here, right? You have like two parts of it. Like you'll have like a lot of Arab men who like really want to do like well not Arab men, I'd say in the Middle East in general. Like it's a lot of like they want to kind of like appease their wives and stuff, and and also a big part of it is like they want to really do what their mothers want. Like you'll find very rarely like a lot of sons here, especially, will say no to their mothers. Like you'll find a
hmm
lot of sons clashing with their fathers, but like their mothers is like a very soft spot for them. They will just
yeah.
never, ever say no. It's I mean just look at like recently today. Like did you see that video of like those guys in Morocco going to the
Well,
presidential ballot and
yeah,
the
they
king's
brought all their
speech?
mothers with them.
All their mothers, like
Yeah,
which by the way, like apparently they're like they're described as like in that Danish news thing, they were described as like monkeys.
that's. I mean, like I don't know what to even say to that. That's just blatant at this point. Like at this point, yeah,
It's like just say it like just like honestly, I'd
that
actually
is.
honestly much
But the
prefer
thing
they
is,
just
that
use
is
racist
saying
names.
it. That is saying it.
But
Like
I just rather them just be upfront. Like this can you just be openly racist? Like it's just like I would prefer it if you just like start slowing like Arab slurs and like Muslims. I'd honestly prefer that. Like, can we just like not tiptoe around the point at this point? I'd just prefer being yelled at this point. Like, it's so much easier. Oh, and by
just
the way, like Messi literally hugged his mother on the on the field, like the second the set like when he
of
won
course. I
like
mean, anyone would healthy person after like doing anything successful would hug their mother or their whoever whichever family member is there with them. So it's not like
yeah
I don't
apparently
know
that's
why.
it's only for like because they're Moroccan, bro. It's like they have to be like held in a different regard, bro. That's just how they are.